Go ahead and kick this, budget work session off. I'm gonna ask, Councilmember Fowler to open us up in prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us gather here today. Do what needs to be done for the betterment of the city and for the years to come. I pray that, we all lean on you for advice and what to do and how to do it, and have faith in the process and know that you're in control. And we pray that you're with us as we leave here tonight. In your name we pray. Amen.
And again, for those of you who just walked in, I don't know if you heard me, there is a sign-in sheet. So if you would, about just some questions or concerns that you have, about things that are going on in the city. So we ask that you put your name, contact information, and write your question in, and we do plan to address and answer all the questions at the end of our budget work session as best as we can. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and, start, and looks like we're gonna start with the appropriations.
You want to get the microphone.
You said it was in this. Okay, where's that sheet at? To show us, what the update is. This is where we are now, and this is, before the rollover. We voted to, on that new. This is with the rollover? Alright, so this is after this. This is with the resolution.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, that's what she just said. This is how much we're over.
Four.
This is, how much we're over after receiving the resolution.
So in your folders, we have the FY twenty-five City of Sylacauga total expenses versus revenue. It lists out the expenses, the transfers, the departments, and as a reminder, the departments were cut $250,000 already, and that number is reflected in this final number.
And that's just the cuts that we went through line by line and cut, correct?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. The appropriations, we listened to everybody, we have not formally, discussed anything at this time. We also haven't talked about the contracts, so that'll need to be done, and then the non-performance. So your total expenses for fiscal year 25 are $27,505,489.75. It's an increase of 32.04%.
Okay, so this is what, and this bottom number that's in red, this is what we're over, correct?
That's correct. So your revenue is projected to be $25,475,604.45. If you do the math, we have a deficit of $2,029,885.30.
I got a question, does that include the, does that include that new resolution, the additional $4 million that we already, allocated towards certain things?
It does, because you guys are supposed to approve that on the 17th. So
Oh.
we redid the numbers to include the bond payment, which is going to be about $2.1 million, which wasn't included previously.
Okay, because I was gonna say when we rescinded the resolution, we were talking about only 167 some odd thousand.
Correct.
Deficit, but you had.
And then we had to add the bond payment because we signed it and we were approved for it on the 7th, council meeting. So, my department had to go back and look at all the numbers. That's correct. Are there any other questions at this time? Lee? Alright. So the next page, this is the recommendation based off the resolution 101-2024.
So this includes the, resolution or not?
It does, yes ma'am.
So the resolution is already in place according to this?
Yes. Because if the resolution, if we don't use it as the resolution's in place, we're gonna have to redo the numbers again. So once you guys said, everybody agreed to the resolution last week, we had to change those numbers.
Okay.
Question.
transfers out. What's that? Just a refresher.
Definition.
The definition of transfers out is we are going to take money out of the general fund and put it into various bank accounts. For instance, bond and interest reserve, taking 2 million out, and that's going to cover the bond payments, but not the entire bond payment for the Master Rec Center, the 2017 A and B, and the 2020s. We also, as you'll notice, bond and interest reserve fund, we're going to take out another 61,730 because the total bond payment is the 2 million plus the 61,000. But according to the resolution, we were just gonna take out the 2 million. So in order to cover the deficit, we have to take out additional funds.
But in reality, the rest of it, we were kinda already like spending it, right? We just had to find the new 2 million.
That's correct.
So yeah, basically the deficit would be off that line.
Yeah, so, okay.
Capital improvement, again, per the resolution. The general operations reserve, per the resolution. Bond and interest, that's going to be, like I said, the balance of the bond payment for fiscal year 25. We'll have a payment in April due, and we'll also have a payment in October. However, we have to send the payment in September. Therefore, we have to make sure we have funding available.
Okay, so the math is mathing now, so the only thing that's coming out of the, that's being transferred out of the, actually out of the general fund is the 61,000 because we've allocated, we put in place the resolution for the 2. Okay.
That's
alright.
correct.
The math
Now,
is mathing now.
What is negotiable for the council? This is just our recommendation, the City Hall Building Maintenance Fund, 180,000, the Master Rec Facility. I believe the council had advised us to provide a recommendation to have funding set aside for the Master Rec on top of the bond payment. So,
For maintenance and upkeep.
yes ma'am, that was the amount that we are recommending be placed aside. In workman's comp is 60,000. All those three though are negotiable. You can opt to not, put any of those funds aside, or you can opt to change the amount. That was just a recommendation.
One quick question, which may sound crazy, I just wanna make sure I'm mapping correctly.
Lee, can you turn your microphone on, or is it not?
Yes, one question,
Thank you.
the deficit is expected and will be funded by the bond, right?
2 million of it.
The deficit is the bond, yes.
Right, so that's covered by the bond proceeds.
Because the payment would be included in the proceeds.
Yes.
Because the bond revenue is not showing up as any revenue.
Correct.
It's gonna be bottom line, that's gonna keep, okay, right, got it, okay.
So are you saying we're only $29,885 in the red?
Roughly speaking.
In reality?
Because we're financing it.
Is that correct,
financing
Alex?
debt. That's what I'm.
That's what I'm trying to make sure too.
No, that's incorrect.
Okay, all right,
So the bond payment's gonna be $2,061,000, which we have on the spreadsheet. The 2 million on the top, and then the 61,000 halfway down the spreadsheet. That includes that payment.
But where is the bond revenue is not the right word, but where is the bond money coming in?
We can't, I guess she's saying we can't count it until we get it. That's why
We don't
can't-
have that money yet.
Yeah, so we can't count it because,
But when we have it, we'll cover some
When
of
we
that.
have it, all that funding is already gonna be spent on, paving, drainage, the
Got it.
master rec.
Got it.
So that's why we're not including it.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
That makes,
yes, sir.
that makes sense.
So no one's.
Sorry, Alex.
No, you're fine. I think it was just a word. So does anyone have any questions on the transfer out of the general fund?
I don't.
And again, anything that's not stored is negotiable. Ms. Keith, you had a question?
No, I'm good, thank you.
The next page, is just what the departments in FY '24, what they proposed in FY '25, and then after the city council cut them. We did include, library and park and rec under the departments for the council president.
What about museum?
We did not include her because she's got two separate lines. She falls under two separate things, one's an appropriation and one's a contract. Currently, we do not do a contract for Park and Rec and Library, but we will in fiscal year '25. And theirs will be really basic due to special events as discussed previously by Supervisor.
do we have a list of who all would fall up under, that special events?
Anybody that we give money to is what the council had advised us to include a separate paragraph into their contract.
I just wanted to see a list, that was all, just so.
I'll get there in a minute.
For my own.
I will. So 19,400,000 and change.
I gotta, I got a question, so what is that fiscal year 24? I guess we can't have the average because we still have a couple of weeks left, this month left. I was trying to see what was the total. I see what we budgeted, I was just trying to see total, spent, but I guess we got a couple of.
We could get that real fast if you would like.
Yeah, I think.
Miss
we do need
Victoria,
that,
can you go ask
because we
Sandy?
know what we budgeted, we need to see what we actually spent out, because I know it was over there was almost $1 million we over budgeted.
Yeah.
Ask Miss Sandy to get the printout of what was spent in fiscal year 24 to date.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
because we knew we had some left over.
So now we're at the appropriations. Just the next slide where we're getting that information for you. So you'll notice on the spreadsheet, we've listed out all the appropriation, and then, we've based off what you guys discussed in appropriations with the different, various personnel that spoke. We filled in some of the numbers for you. Because just talking, if they were level funded, you guys, didn't really have a comment for them, either yay or nay. For instance, Lake Howard, that is a agreement, so that's really not negotiable. The Marble Festival is, we've been doing that same amount for 2 million years now. So, do you want to run through this, Ms. Nix?
I think we do, I think we wanna, well, I'm prepared, I think the goal is to go through these line by line, because today, we do wanna finalize this and decide what we are and aren't going to do. And I do have a couple of questions, and it's probably in my, I guess I'm gonna have to refer back to my booklet, since we're gonna start, I think the airport authority is at the top. So, alright, and if that's cool with y'all to do it this way, this is the only way I can keep up. Yay, nay? No?
Yes, I'm good.
Alright. Okay, so first is up the airport authority, and there's an additional $62,150. Am I maybe close, correct, wrong?
They're asking for $101,000.
I know it, but something was for, a one-time project, so was it the
The
62?
the tree removal,
Yeah, was it the $62,150?
Yes.
We agreed to half, right?
Yeah, well, I think we want to agree, I don't think we're gonna be able to fund this entire project, but I do think we need to meet them halfway. How do the rest of you guys feel about this?
correct, it's our airport, so.
And it's a one-time,
Yeah, and they do have some money, so.
so they can probably, meet us the other part of the way, don't you? Since you don't have, liaison lead, don't you think?
Yes,
Okay, all right. So Alex, can we get a new number for this one? We wanna cut this number in half,
It's gonna be $30,100.
all right?
That's, and then,
And you guys, where's Nicole? Is Nicole
She's right
somewhere
there.
calculating? Oh, can you hear us, Nicole? Do we have any more questions on that one, y'all?
I'm good.
All right, so next one is the ARC. And Nicole, let us know, like, if we're going too fast, 'cause I know you have to get these numbers down and get them inputted, so just stop us if we're up here doing too many things. So with the ARC, I know she's requesting an additional, $5,000, And she did explain to us all the things that, they do over there, and, some of it was for gas. I know she said they get, driver's license, fare trips, they do buy their food and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we feel about the, increasing theirs for, this $5,000? I mean, I'm fine with it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I'm
I'm
good.
good with this one?
Right.
All right, and she did give, some reasons as to why she's requesting this increase. Okay, I know, next one is the beautification council, and we talked about this a few months ago, if you guys remember, the $5,000, that's the increase on this one is for the Christmas decoration, because they do storm, they insure, and Alex do have the, updated insurance information on that as well. I just thought it was a good idea to forward through the beautification council, since they're the people that store it and insure it.
That's not a bad idea.
And as a reminder, this will be a reimbursable only.
Yep, and so if they don't spend it, we don't give it.
Right.
All right, we good here?
Mm-hmm.
All right? Yeah, for the beautification council. All right, the next one that's up is Earth, and they're requesting $1 million.
What, CDA?
CDA's next.
Maybe I should put my glasses on, I can see. Sorry, all right, I got them, and I'm using it, and I'm rolling, I'm not the only one, okay? CDA, where did Ashton go?
I don't know.
All right, so CDA, they're requesting $35,000, and their request was for, it was for a part-time director. And I know back in, was it April? When we did it, we did talk about it, because at first they were asking for a full-time director, but I know I wasn't in favor of it, because I didn't think we need to put a full-time person in place without trying out a person first. But I mean, they do a lot, they bring a lot to the city.
Here's the deal with CDA, and you know, I know we've all got our differences of opinion. If they do a lot, and they are volunteering, I think, like we've talked in the past, let's do half, because if we're not gonna do anything, we might as well, and I don't mean to be ugly, we might as well dissolve the CDA, because it's hard to ask somebody to keep doing something for free over and over. You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying?
Yes, I say do half, yes.
So hold on, half of the request, or we're gonna give the $35,000?
I thought we agreed to do half the request.
This is for a part-time person. If
Oh.
they want a full-time person,
It's
they would be
60.
responsible. And also too,
60, got you, okay, yeah, do the 35, my numbers,
is he here?
Brian's right there.
Brian's right there, I was looking for, Ryan. So in that agreement, I know we talked about in the budget meeting, Brian, are you guys on board with what we discussed as far as if you don't hire somebody, then we don't pay any money, and depending on the month you hire, because we're gonna divide this number by 12, so say they don't hire them until 3 more months, we wanna make this a monthly allocation versus giving $35,000 to their budget, because this money is specifically for that. Did we get with them about that?
Ryan didn't have a problem with it when we discussed it.
Okay, are you guys on board with that?
Yes, the total ask was for 65, so we could add the 35 and hire somebody, part-time, which right now we're allocating 30, so we asked for an additional 35.
Yeah, and the way
And
we
then
want.
we were
Yeah.
absolutely good with staying at our current allocation, and then at some time when we're able to hire somebody, then at whatever month that is, then our, allocation is increased to include,
But this is
Up
the
to the
additional,
prorated.
but
right, prorated.
I wanna make sure, we're understanding, or I'm understanding. Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, but in the budget meeting, we decided that if we, consider this, where we're gonna, the 35 would be split up over 12 months, and it would be a monthly allocation, right?
That's correct.
Okay, does that make sense, Brian?
That's additional to the 30 that we're currently getting.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
It's
and,
prorated.
and to the extent you spend it, so it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we all agree with that, with those circumstances?
I do.
So we'll have to just make sure that contract is written that way, Alex? You have the notes? You good with that action?
Yeah, they receive the increase once someone's hired.
Yeah, well,
For the balance of the prorated amount.
yeah, for the balance, and it will be a monthly allocation, so we will
Right,
divide
so
the
the monthly
35.
allocation increase.
Yeah, yeah. But we're gonna fund the part-time director, but insurance, all that stuff, that's not on us, right?
No.
Not our problem.
So what's the total amount y'all are funding?
$65,000, but 35,000 of it will be split up over 12 months for a monthly allocation.
And who's providing the contract?
What do you mean?
I thought
Ryan, can
we
you
had previously
write one
talked
up?
about a contract.
To include the,
Yeah, we
Which
can
might
just
include the
modify our
director.
contract we had last year to include that once the director
Okay,
is hired.
so 65 is including 35 for the part-time director.
Yes.
So does it need to be two separate contracts, or can we just amend the old one?
No, we'll take care of it.
Alright. Alright, so we good with that one? Okay, so the next one is Earth, and Earth is asking for, $1 million. So, I do have a few questions on this one, as, I don't know about the rest of you, so. I guess, and we wanna help, and I do think we should help. I just think I need some more information, and I just need to see how it's gonna directly benefit, the people of Sylacauga.
Correct. I mean, before we give money, we've got to make sure that the money's being used for the benefit of citizens. That's constitutional.
So-
So if there are specific activities that Earth is providing, such as job training, et cetera, that needs to be articulated in a way that we can map it across residents of Sylacauga.
Yeah.
And here's what I think. I think we should have, thought before we wrote the letter of commitment, which was our word from the city. It's to benefit the city as a whole. It's to clean up a property that has been an eyesore, and to benefit not only children, but adults too.
What's that for, a letter of?
We submitted, the city, Ashton, was it when you were president?
I do not remember when it was. You're talking about submitting a letter to Earth, saying
To-
we give,
Yeah, the million, yeah,
We said we would give $1 million?
yes.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I don't remember that.
I
Yeah.
don't remember
Yeah.
that letter myself.
Do you have a copy of that letter?
I do not, I didn't write it.
Yes,
so-
and I'm not saying we shouldn't
Yeah.
help, but it's just,
I think we're committed to some level of support, but it has to be mapped to how citizens of Sylacauga are.
Well, so-
I'm not saying it's not out there, I don't remember it.
So what are we saying, how do we wanna map this out? Cause I think we're all in agreement that we wanna help and we want to, contribute to Earth, cause it's our part, but how do we want to map this out? How do we wanna meet with Miss Margaret and her team and get this figured out? Cause we know they're fixing to start construction very soon.
And I think they just need to give us a list of ways that the work that they're undertaking, or any contribution that the city may make.
Like break that million down,
Would
right?
benefit how it's gonna be used. We don't want it being spent on something that's not related to the city. So it needs to be, like somebody who's donating something to a cause, you get to determine where the money goes, that's the only thing it can be spent on. We need to make sure it's spent only on things that would benefit citizens of
kind of the
Sylacauga.
same like helping the hospital.
Miss
And Miss
Margaret?
Margaret talked, she's here.
But it's kinda like, my idea is kinda like when we help the hospital and other, places.
Right, I get what you're saying, I wished we'd have went that in depth when we was at our last meeting.
And even too, guys.
And we could have come up with a little bit better plan, and I get what everybody's saying,
But
but
it's easy though, it just needs to be something we can put in the agreement.
Miss Margaret, can you get us something?
Well, Ms. Martin, if you want to, you can come up, and we do wanna help, but as of right now, to be honest, we don't even have $1 million. We don't have $1 million.
We don't have it to give.
Yeah. But that's why I said we need to, see how we can actually help Earth and see the impact of our contribution.
We certainly can provide that, and that is in a lot of the documentation that you already have.
Right.
The request that we made has been given through the state and through the county commission and others, is for construction.
Yeah, and that's what I was
That's
thinking.
what it's for construction, and we could specifically designate an area of Earth. It will have City of Sylacauga's name on it as where you designated you would like your money spent.
And that's what I was gonna ask too, Ms. Margaret, because, you know, we've done this with a few other partnerships as well, and it just makes it a little easier for us when we know when we're
Sure,
actually.
absolutely,
Yeah.
I agree about accountability, and we can let you look and see what area of the construction you'd like to have your money spent on.
So is the construction the only thing that you're asking for money on, so there's nothing else, like,
No.
okay?
And that's what the county's portion is going for
County,
also.
5 million from the county is for construction. The money that if you decide to make that commitment would be for construction.
And this is for capital, not operating, as you get started.
Capital, yes, absolutely.
I have a question. Will you clarify when the letter was submitted?
The letter was submitted, and signed by Ashton, to submit to the finance director, for the state of Alabama when we were entering into a request to the state for the earmark money that we got, which because of that letter, we leveraged $18 million for the project.
That wasn't us promising to give them $1 million, it was to send to the state, correct?
Well, no, it was a promise to make a commitment of $1 million on behalf of the city of
So
Sylacauga.
then they would also, based on
Yeah.
that leverage. give
Based
the
on
18.
the availability, it was not something that said without question, but it was to show support that the city of
Yeah, okay.
Sylacauga was making an investment.
I remember that meeting
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah, so that was submitted back.
At least 2 years ago.
Happened, yeah.
And then, to Ms. Margaret, maybe, I was gonna wonder, maybe we can do this, like, because we do wanna help, we really do. Cause I mean, I was, impressed by what, you know, Isaac had to say and what you guys had to say, it is exciting. Maybe we can just have another separate meeting with you guys, because as of right now, we can't afford the $1 million.
We don't have it.
Well, you know, we just got this new debt with this bond, and as you heard, Alex was trying to figure out how to pay off this stuff, because whatever contribution we make, it may have to be to where we may have to split it up over 2 years. And I'm just saying, I'm not promising anything, but you understand what I'm saying. So is there any way we can just set up something, and maybe, we can sit down with you and try to figure out how we can work this out and get you guys some assistance?
Sure.
Because we don't wanna say no, we're not saying no, but right now,
But what your investment would mean too is the leverage of new market tax credits. And we have to have a commitment and or cash in the bank by the end of November.
November of this year?
This year.
Yeah, and I remember you saying that too.
Yeah.
So I think we need to,
We can come up with something by November.
yeah,
Way in advance.
and then you come up with something to how you can say this is.
We can actually show you a architectural drawing of the facility and where everything's gonna be, and you can say, look, we'd like to commit our $1 million to this specific space for this specific function.
And I think that'll better help us, especially since, I mean, it is in the county, but it's still gonna benefit the city, so the citizens of Sylacauga can say, you know, this is for us too. And, you know,
Yes.
our city put money here so that we can be a part of this as well. I think we just need to seek
And it
something
wouldn't
that's
be
gonna show our
just
country.
dedicated to only
Yeah.
people who are residents of Sylacauga, because
Yeah.
it's for everybody. But we, you know, that's what we call naming rights.
Yeah.
And so there would be naming rights for the city of Sylacauga and anyone else who makes a contribution.
I think that would better help
You would
us.
be on the designation, yes, absolutely. And you can look at the schematic and make a decision about what you would be interested in having as naming rights for the city of Sylacauga.
Is this something we need to figure out before the end of September, so it's?
Yeah. I
No,
think
it's
we
not
need
in the
to-
county or the city, it is an industrial district.
Oh,
That was
wow.
established in 1986 by law. So it is an industrial district, it does not reside in the city limits of Sylacauga nor in the county.
Okay,
Yeah, so.
That's good information.
that is.
Makes it very
Thank-
unique.
Thank you so much, Ms. Margaret.
Thank you.
Hold on, Ms. Margaret, I think
No,
actually,
no.
not from Ms.
I was just
Margaret.
gonna remind people, I know a lot of people came in while we discussed that if you come in and sign in over here,
That-
and you have your contact information, questions you'd like answered, we'll start on those after this budget hearing. I just saw a lot more people come in as we were talking.
Thank you, Ms. Margaret, that makes me feel a lot better, and I'm sorry those questions didn't come up, but thanks for explaining that to us. Alright, so, So we're gonna move that, we're gonna go down the list?
Yes, ma'am.
So Feral Dogs of Avondale, and they're requesting, $6,000, and this is a new request, and Tara explained what it is that they do. I know I seen the line wrapped around the building this Saturday for those, vouchers they had been selling, so.
I think this could really help our shelter, you know.
Yeah, with their spade and neuter program, I think we would benefit from it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're good here?
Yeah.
Alright, so, historical, commission. This one.
Let me turn my binder.
Okay, on this one, I think, there's $19,000 increase in this one for, never mind, too.
Gansworth Post Office.
The post office, restoration and, historical marker.
And they have been getting volunteers out there on the weekends to help out, and Tara sent me an email about it.
Is this something we can wait a little while longer to do, maybe revisit it around the first of the year?
And I know maybe
This
too,
used to be a capital project.
Is it not capital anymore?
It's on the capital list.
I think it got moved down the list.
Okay.
When we prioritized the list for the bond. But let me see, so, but there is, I think when I asked Ms. Linda, let me see. That's what, here's the list, cause she said it wasn't itemized. It is itemized, but it's not, it's just a list of things they can get for,
The-
19,000. And is Miss Linda here or, Ryan, because what I wanted to ask was there a way this could be split up instead of trying to do everything at once? Does that make sense? Instead of trying to do everything at once, maybe we can,
I was just gonna, that'd be fine, I was just thinking maybe do it around, January or.
yeah, but we still need to see the prices of splitting it up, cause I mean, we can do it in
Sure.
quarters or.
Phases,
Yeah,
whatever you wanna
phases
do.
or increments.
We just
So-
need to make sure we're not trying to avoid the law by doing that.
Oh, no, we're just trying to.
No,
save
we're
some
just trying to
money.
save some money.
Make sure.
So do you guys agree that we can, postpone this and try to see if we can, like maybe?
One of us need to contact, Linda. Ms. Dixon.
Alright, y'all good with just,
But still try to get it sorted. before
yeah,
we
what we
finalize.
do, but Alex, put in the notes, we still wanna, see what the cost of everything is to try to, we don't wanna push it to the bottom of the list, we do wanna work on it, wanna chip away at it a little bit at a time.
Hey Tiff, I'll call Ron or Ms. Linda.
That's fine.
Get that.
And Ryan would know about the splitting and what was more important.
So Nicole, this one is we're gonna take $19,526 off of this one, Alright.
For now.
for now. And make it a separate, project. Okay, so the IDB, their increase was $13,750, I don't remember.
What was that for, Lee? I'm
They're trying to get back to where they were
Get back to where they were from April or
from
from,
several years ago. We
how
took
many years ago was that?
probably 8 or 9.
Can we do half of that, you think?
I think that they'll work with anything we can afford to do.
What y'all think about half?
I don't know, but if they've done without it for 8 years, how have they been making?
I'm just throwing out
Yeah,
suggestions.
how have they been making
I
money?
think they've got a lot more expenses coming in now related to mowing grass, which is costing them
I remember that,
$3,000.
but did we help out with that, or did we give them?
For a little while,
Yeah.
until when we cut them, there was the 6-month budget. We helped out, I believe, maybe, we did help out for a minute, but now they've hired a separate third party who does it.
Okay, so I'm with Nate then, maybe if we can meet them halfway, because if they've been making it for 8 years, but I do realize there are some new expenses coming in. So how do you guys feel about meeting them halfway?
Yeah, we gotta give them something.
Yeah.
Alright, so Nicole, that, $13,750, we'll break that, split that in half.
So 56,875.
Yes. Alright, like how is non-negotiable, Marble City Festival expense, it is what it is. Palmer Place, we all agreed to this, I think this is a really good idea, I'm glad we're gonna be able to, start being a part of this. I know a lot of people don't know what this is for, so you probably should just research it, and they do they do a lot of good things.
It's,
You gonna explain it to everybody?
I was I lost my train of
It's
thought.
okay, you wanna go on down the list?
Yeah, I'm
All right.
sorry.
Okay, so we'll go to the Coosa Valley Rescue Squad.
I was thinking about something else, forgive me.
All right, Coosa Valley Rescue Squad, so they're.
Ms. Banks, the 79,000 is not included in any number, because we just got that request.
Okay,
Just
so,
you know.
all right, yeah, so everybody has some new numbers in front of them.
So it's not 79 plus 3, it's 79.
It's 79 plus 3, yes.
79 plus 3.
But when we did the budget numbers, we only included the 3.
And I only got one sheet too, Nick, you only got
Uh-oh,
one.
hang on, I'm sorry. I never was good at taking and passing.
It's okay.
Where's Jacob's at?
Is he here?
And the shop still does work for them, so we have that,
But that's been something,
but that's just something, we don't account for that, that's just something the shop does.
that's right, out of the goodness of their heart. That's been going on for a while. And I know, we know the story of the rescue squad. We got that at the last meeting. And here's where I'm at with it. And we can do whatever you think. Y'all can do
Hold
whatever
on,
we
Nick, we
do.
probably should've, when you asked me about the podium, I said no, and then we've been calling people up, so I'm so sorry. I think we should, somebody go.
Find the podium.
or
Podium's
just
right
put it
behind
on.
them.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
I know, but I don't want you to have to lean over, but I think we need to
But
set it up.
I think we need to try to figure out something with them and let's get back on the same page the city was on 20 years ago. Now, I don't know what that magic number is,
But we just got this number. So
That's
it's
right.
kinda, hard, but I do think we need to, I think we need to go ahead and level fund it, and then we're probably gonna have to, when we have the meeting with SAFE, make them a part of that, whatever work session that is, so we can come up with a plan. Since we just got these numbers.
And we should really put the police chief, the fire chief, and others who will be coordinating with them.
what Mr. Gallup has said about some liaison. Go ahead, would you explain to them what you explained to me in the hallway?
Our whole plan is to get with the police department, chief of the police department, and the fire chief, and get together and set liaisons between the two with us, and for them to tell us what can we do for you. How can we help the city? It's strictly volunteer. And like I said, we're in the rebuilding process. 2 weeks ago, we was looking at losing what we had last year. This is what we see right now, a rough estimate of what we need.
So is this like, all this stuff is like,
I'm not gonna stand here and tell you, I want every dollar of this. I need help. We need help.
So let me ask you, so is this price right here, outside of the 3,000, is this what you need to get started? I'm trying to, make sure I understand. So is this something to get started, and next year you're not gonna ask for this much? Is this just to get you where you need to be so you can operate?
Yes. If you want the honest truth, yes, I need that to get to where we're at, where we need to be.
So then what happens next year? What's gonna, what do you anticipate? So say we're able to give you everything on this list. What would the budget look like in a year? Would it be the same thing?
Probably not. Probably not.
Do you
that
understand
much.
why I'm asking? I'm trying to see
I
what.
fully understand. And I'm not gonna stand here and make a promise to you that I can't keep. But it's like I told y'all before, it's no big secret. It had went down and we're trying to rebuild it. So we have equipment in there that needs repaired. That's gonna happen. All that equipment in there needs tires. The tires look great, but they're over 10 years old. If we're in an accident on tires over 10 years old,
Be in trouble.
yeah, no matter whose fault it is, it'll be ours.
I talked to Commissioner Morris today, and he says the county is going to help them out about $1,600–1,700. So, and then there'll be some more that come, throughout the year as they can get it. And I'm with Councilwoman Nix here. I think we want to do something. We need to sit down and iron out what you really got to have ASAP, and then what maybe we can do next year. Does that make sense, Mr. Gallup?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that good? isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm just looking at this. The list wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna have like, uniforms and stuff like that on it. I don't
No.
see that.
No,
I don't,
this is repairs.
They're just trying to get
Because
up
they've
and
been
running, yeah.
They've been down for so long. It's something we need to consider at a meeting. Cause I know we just got these numbers now, we gotta try to fit them in.
so tell me what's building service, okay, so it's the HVAC, safety, electrical, fire extinguishers,
What is what?
insurance. I see it on here.
Could we separate out what the rehabilitation funding is that's one time versus the ongoing funding?
Yeah, but I'm trying to see too, because you guys do have some money, right? You guys do have some money, because some of these things I'm looking at, I know it is gonna have to be done. That's what I'm sitting here
Yeah,
reading.
I
And forgive me
mean,
for
yes,
this,
ma'am, we
right?
do have some money, and I'll give you, the statement last, 2 weeks ago?
Oh,
We do receive about $10,000 from tobacco tax check, but it takes $75,000 to $8,000 is what I'm gonna pay out in insurance next month to BFIS, and that's insurance on the building and the equipment. So, you know, you're looking at only $10,000 a year, and it's taking 8 of it.
Is it usually like that, Alex? That's our building and the people who are in it pay the insurance?
It's your land, it's your land, our building.
Oh, okay, you're doing, never mind.
So like with the vehicle tires, obviously you gotta buy those, but then the alignment, rotation, you have some maintenance estimates on here. Is that stuff our shop's gonna be doing, or is that separate?
I would have to see,
I talked to Ed the other day. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Ed said that basically, the way the contract has always been prior is they do the maintenance, they pay for the parts. So
Ah.
the maintenance would actually be city funded, be free. They just have to pay for what, like the tires and the
So
fuel
some of this-
pumps or whatever it is they need.
Yeah, some of this
Okay,
maintenance
so,
estimate,
yeah, that's
that
what-
would be decreased.
Okay, all right, but that's what I was saying too. But what I was gonna do, I was gonna say, we could've went ahead on and added up some of this stuff and
And you
came.
gave a little bit today?
Yeah, and go ahead and did it, because say like this building services, and it says an estimate. Do you already, are these hard numbers, or they are what it says estimates? Do you have some hard numbers on this stuff? It says building services estimate for HVAC, safety issues.
yes,
electrical-
I had Tommy Culver come out, Culver Heating and Air, come out and check the heating and air unit the other day. The heating and air unit's 35 years old.
Okay,
It uses the R22, I think he said, that can't be bought. He said it's 35 years old. He said, what do you think I'm saying? It's a 3.5, 4-ton unit. You're looking at $9,000 to replace it. That is something that's not necessarily on, yes, we would love to have it. Is it I have to? No, we can look at other means, cheaper means of heating, and, well, maybe we can sweat.
what about these vehicles? So these are hard, they look like hard numbers, the vehicles, this is how much it is to get all the vehicles for tires and the alignment, right? Batteries,
When you're looking at, there's seven actual vehicles in there, and you're running anywhere from 170 to $250 a battery. A set of tires I bought for my truck this past week, $1,500. Then a front end alignment on top of that. You got 7 of those vehicles.
Alex, what do you think are the top 3 or 4 things off this list that you need, like, if the city could afford right now?
I got a number in my head.
Okay, let's see if his number matches yours.
We've gotta have the tires for the vehicles to run on the road safely.
Okay.
Continuation of your city shop doing the maintenance. If we buy the parts, get the vehicles back operational and getting the boats back operational.
Alex, you had
Alright,
this,
so what else? The tires, that's a necessity. What else on your, list, Mr. Gallows?
tags,
The tags, the vehicle maintenance,
Alright,
tires, continue with help with the fuel and the water and power.
So these are utilities.
Yes.
Okay, what's that number?
Oh, nobody's adding it up.
And, I mean,
Alex is.
We're not counting
if you wanted to go the heating and air, I would say, thank you.
I'm just trying to see, because I know it, and I get it, we appreciate you guys trying to get this up and running, but we're trying to, make sure we balance it, but we also don't wanna not,
Well, the numbers provided also, I mean, it's most likely on those two line items of vehicle tires and vehicle parts will be less because the shop will be doing the maintenance and the alignment. I'm guessing the alignment rotations. Should I do that?
yeah, these are car batteries, right?
Some of them big batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them big batteries, like ambulance batteries, right?
This is what I'm thinking, I'm thinking we should give the 3,000, because that's the, what do y'all usually do with the 3,000?
That's,
That's for utilities, so this is included. I'm thinking
that's okay.
fuel, I'm thinking 43,000. But I don't know how y'all, cause I took out the necessities, and I added 3,000. I added up the necessities, things he said he just had to have, that's the vehicle tires,
Mhm.
that's the parts, and that's the, tags. I think I added the batteries in there too,
I think that's fair.
yeah, and
Can we-
then, let's do this now, and then let's see what we're gonna have to do in the future, let's try to, see if we can come up with a
Yeah,
game
that's-
plan to get the other things taken care of, but I
Yeah.
think this is a good
I
start.
think that's fair, I
I
agree.
think it's- Y'all good with that?
Are y'all
I
good with that?
deeply appreciate it.
Okay, and I'm sorry, but we just got it, so we had to pull out my old. Okay.
Thank
so-
you.
Thank you, Mr. Galvin.
Thank you.
So 43,000,
Yeah.
okay, are we doing reimbursable?
Yeah,
Are we doing
hold on,
monthly
Mr. Galvin,
allotments?
yeah, so this is why I said it the way I said it, so the 3,000 is their,
Allocation.
their allocation. The rest of it is
That's a
reimbursement
reimbursable
up to,
Up to 40.
up to $40,000, yes.
The 3,000 is also, we pay those bills.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so that's fine. So will you explain to him, he probably knows what it means, so he can just tell him what he needs to do. Alright, okay, so we're good, that makes sense, y'all?
Alex is gonna break that down for us, so how we operate,
And
okay?
then this way too, say something else comes up that's more important than the things that we just added up, you can switch it around. Yeah.
Reimburse.
If I need to come sit and talk to either one of you, whatever, let me know when.
Yes.
I'm
You
good.
got my number?
The only thing
I do.
Yeah, only thing I ask is keep, our police chief and our fire chief updated, and y'all can just give us regular updates, I'm excited, I can't wait to see it, back up and running, thank you guys so much for everything you do.
Thank y'all.
Just don't ask me to volunteer.
She swims real
Good
good.
direct traffic.
Alright, my bad, y'all.
That's okay.
So what did we say, 43 on this one?
43.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, where am I? Where's it on?
Where's your ruler?
Oh, wait, I see it. I got my glasses somewhere. So we did 43 with this one. Nicole, you with us? I am. Alright. So, safe, nothing. You sure you don't want anything, Miss Margaret? Where is she?
Last night.
She
Alright.
done said she wasn't gonna ask, remember?
So, Talladega County Juvenile Court.
This is a contract with the updated numbers,
And they went up, and there's nothing we can do about this,
there's nothing we
right?
can do, 60%.
Alright, so Talladega County Health Department, same thing. Coosa Valley Medical Center, and I need to break out my,
That's in the very back, I think.
very back. Everybody got their binders? Reed is here, so Reed, that street I gave you over by the hospital, was it on the list, or did we add it to the list? Huh?
West Spring is on
It is on the list, alright, so it's West Spring, and we also talked about, and we had just walked in, doing that, the old telepad thing for them, and Wynn said we could do that, remember you and I talked about that for the hospital? And we were to pave that, spot where, yeah, so Wynn said that is legal, we can do that.
Okay?
So, so now we look at the list that they.
So would that paving come out of our bond?
Well,
numbers
the
to have to
street
pay?
that they were asking about is already on the list, so, yeah,
It's gonna be paid from one end to the other.
but that's already, on the list.
But like the helipad place, can we pave it?
I don't think so. When, we can't pay that out of the bond money, right, to that, I keep saying it wrong, it's not the helipad.
I don't think it has to come out of.
Yeah, we can't pay it, so that's one of the things that they asked for, to get that piece of property. I'm looking for my, list I had, shoot. Has anybody got their list?
I hear you.
This the list?
That's what I got.
You got your list?
I didn't find mine.
So we got, I'm gonna say this wrong, something nuclear medicine camera, Simons, as per Councilman Fowler. Medical surgical bed replacement, striker drill system, and Bovie electro something system. So,
Let's do that.
I think we need to,
Well, and y'all don't wanna hear it, but we still have that 2 million that we could give to them and return and keep doing over and over.
but
and give back.
I think the thing was that we don't wanna, the city doesn't lend money out. I think that's what the issue
It's
is.
theirs to receive, but,
If it's theirs to receive, why are we lending it to them and not giving it to them?
well, they
If
can give
that's
it
the
back
case.
in a, we could do that as well, but they could also give it back
I-
in interest in over X amount of months or years and.
Alright.
I don't
back
like,
again.
I don't like that idea.
Are there stipulations to it though, or?
The stipulations
Hold
are
on,
10
hold on,
years.
y'all we're gonna be confused, so hold on, so, Lee, you wanna start since you know the.
Well, the stipulations are, it was always intended that that was the city's, proceeds for when the hospital flipped back to Sylacauga's ownership from Baptist Medical Center. And the idea was, is that money would always be kept, never be spent, and the interest would be used to fund other things. It was intended to be kept in perpetuity. But there's a clause in the agreement that it can be used for emergencies. Emergencies are not defined. One could argue that any of what they're stating is an emergency if it might result in not having enough money to be able to maintain services and support. I think one of the suggestions that Ashton was referring to is that taking that money and not giving it to them, but somehow letting them use it, which is better than giving it to them, would keep them from diminishing services and not require the city to give them any city money.
But also to pay it back to the city, but we talked
That's
about this.
more complicated.
I know it, but I thought we all talked about that they were in dire need of some assistance. I don't think they were looking for a loan.
Yeah.
Right, and we agreed to help them with their capital purchases, and that's what this is for, and it was gonna come out of our budget.
Which is probably what we need to stick to for simplicity.
Yeah,
But can we, Alex, got a question, I don't know if you have the answer to it. In that, account, how much interest is being drawn out of that account, or what are we using the interest for in that account?
You've been using it to fund other projects in the city. When
But-
we roll it over, we take the interest out, we put it in the interest account.
So is there any money, any interest in that account now?
There's money in the interest account, yes.
So why can't we help them with that interest and not
That's
come out of our?
That's probably not a lot though. I mean, it's $1 million a year at 5% is, which is what, didn't you just renegotiate 4-point-something% or something? Or so you're talking about
The interest
generating
rate's dropping.
$50,000 a year in interest, which is a drop in the bucket.
Well, why don't we, why can't we give them half of it? I mean, why not give them money out of that instead of out of our budget? I mean, the money's there for the hospital.
Well, the key is to help them cover the cost of unreimbursed medical care provided to people in Sylacauga who can't pay for it, and that's about $16 million a year that they spend. So it's trying to prevent them from shutting down services and allowing them to expand services to generate revenue, to be able to rely on us less.
I know it, but I was
Complicated.
I was saying if that money was over there and if we can use it, why not use that money?
It's just such a small amount of money though, it wouldn't do anything.
But like I said, it's $2 million.
He's
We're
talking about
two
the
different
interest.
things.
But the interest is not.
The interest on the 2 million.
But I'm
versus
saying, why can't we give them why can't we just give them some of the $2 million.
That's what I said.
But you wanna loan it to them.
Well, we can give it to them too, I'm sure they'd be appreciative.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Why not give it to them out of that? Because the money's gonna continue to draw interest. We're not.
But there's no money going back into that account. That is, from
No, I'm
my,
saying-
It doesn't make sense to me about the interest, like, why is it not, the interest staying with that account?
Because we.
That's the purpose of
That was
it.
not the way it was
Because when
written.
we invested, that's what we've been using to fund other, smaller projects that
Okay,
we've
so
been
The
approving.
intent was to always fund the general fund.
Why don't we give them $1 million of it, keep $1 million in that, and keep rolling that $1 million for more interest?
Because according to you, it's an emergency.
I think it could be construed as an emergency if we chose to construe.
So
it as
that's,
an
that's what
emergency.
I'm saying. I
So I
think,
get $1 million of it, we still have $1 million to roll over CDs and whatnot to gain interest.
but what's the emergency?
The emergency is
Losing services.
is the need for them to.
but the money is
diminish
for the
services.
hospital. That's what it's insured for.
I get it, but we also have an ordinance, and we just had a big ordeal about not following our own ordinances, so.
No, you can change this. It can be changed. That's what the council can do it, the council can change it. Just as it did in the beginning.
What does the ordinance say, Alex?
I can go get it, I know exactly where it is.
Will that be an inconvenience for you to go get it?
Not at all, it'll take me about a second and a half.
All right, I think,
Maybe a little bit longer than that.
because if we can figure out a way to help them without touching our,
Our own money.
general fund.
And put some money to use rather than just sitting there earning minimal interest.
And it doesn't even have to be $1 million. I mean, we can come up with another number.
What I'm saying to, you know, your favorite emergency, losing professional service, then losing dollars going to the line, losing
Or,
jobs,
look,
positions.
We don't have to give the money. Look, Nate, we can take the
There's your
money
ordinance.
and buy the,
Resolution, signed by Mr. Jesse Cleveland.
but the way this reads, if I'm not mistaken, is saying that the interest has to be used as an emergency. I could be wrong. Act of war, or create a condition of hardship for citizens of the city of Sylacauga.
Losing professional service creates
So,
hardship.
so if services were diminished, if like other communities, we stopped delivering babies, that's a hardship. And the key is to help them maintain those
We already got it,
services.
Alex.
Sorry.
I like it.
You wanna read it?
Yeah, I think it's right.
You ready?
Yeah.
You ready?
Thank you, Tiff.
So,
But Alex, the key on it we were talking about was that something creating a hardship for the citizens, which losing professional services.
but let me
and stuff
ask this, but
probably would.
if in fact we decide to do this, can we still stipulate the money? Can we still say if we agreed to give
It
$1
must
million,
be,
can we
it
just
must
buy?
be used for X.
What do you say?
It must be used for whatever we specify. Which could be for generically for maintaining XX services or for buying certain capital equipment to maintain services. The key being that it's trying to help them cover the costs that they're incurring that they're not getting reimbursed, and then being able to provide those services.
So do you think any of the things on this list constitutes that?
Well, if we look at the
There
nuclear
would-
medicine camera, that means that those services stay in Sylacauga or could be in Sylacauga generating revenue rather than sending people off to Birmingham. So that is a revenue generating approach, whereas an emergency could also be deemed that the medical surgery bed, because they can't do those, they have to send those people off if we don't have those beds here.
Would that, we never acted on, I know they requested that like robotic surgery equipment for the urology department. we never did anything with that, right?
Right.
Because Glenn was talking about how big a deal that would be, obviously, because it's a couple day recovery time versus a couple week recovery time if it's done by man, and that was a big thing with him. I wanna say that was like over $1 million.
Yes.
But that's not, but
That
that,
wasn't doable.
but that wouldn't be declared an emergency because that's just that's an alternate. You see what I'm saying? Say what you're thinking, Nate. Say it. Now's the time to say it.
But it's
I'm
money-
that quiet.
But it's also money that's
No,
not being
I mean,
used.
I need you to say.
I know, we've just always said we wasn't giving it, we wasn't touching it.
No,
you-
the money, go ahead, I'm sorry.
You gonna let me talk? We always said that we wasn't gonna touch it unless it was a dire emergency, like something like it was fixing to shut down or something bad had went wrong, that we was always gonna try to help them with our finances. And you actually brought the idea up and done a real good job that we would help them with their capital purchases such as what some of this is. And I was always on the understanding, that's what we do. You give this, even though everybody says it's there, they all know what that 2 million is there for. Some of them was on the council and or in leadership in this city when Tom Ogletree helped them write that to put that up so the hospital would always be okay if something bad went wrong. Now I'm a little confused that we have all of a sudden decided to jump ship. That's what I'm a little frustrated about, if you want to be there. All
I
right.
was just trying to find a way to fund it. I don't think that we should disturb the 2 million. I think it should stay doing what it's doing.
So let me ask
But-
y'all,
But if we can't find any money otherwise, we should not do something. That's the key.
what about what about 3 and 4? What
Because
about-
let me say that, I'm sorry, I want to help the hospital. I think our hospital does a good job with, my family's had to use that hospital a couple of times here recently, but I want us to do right by what we have, our paperwork we have in file too.
So what about 3 and 4? How do you feel about 3 and 4? Oh, this is your sheet.
That's my sheet. Yeah, 3, I'm fine with doing anything on this list, but what we gonna pay for it out of? That's my only
It's gonna have to
concern.
come out of the general fund, that's what we were trying to, so we
Okay,
wanted to think.
well, maybe we can't do 3 and 4, we may only be able to do 3 and only be able to do 4.
Well, right now, we can't do any of it, we're in a deficit.
Well, Laura just had.
But that's because the million has already come
Laura
out.
just had a super brilliant idea. One of the things we could do to help is not let them touch the principal, we could give them the interest, which at 5% interest would be $100,000 a year in interest.
So is that gonna,
Ish.
That don't sound like a bad idea.
I think that's what would be the best way to approach it.
I like it.
I don't think so.
That's not enough, but
But
that's.
that's not what's in
but
there
that's
now,
helpful,
so
but
they'll
that's
still have to
helpful.
wait to get it, that's the only thing, they'll have to wait until it's generated.
Which would be roughly every year based on a Sylacauga schedule.
So
But
are you
that's-
saying to give it to them every year, or just as one time?
I think we should give it to them every year.
Yeah, I think we need that's fair. Interest.
Which is helpful,
You
but
agree?
doesn't touch the principal.
I wouldn't touch the 2 million, that's been our backbone for years.
But no, what I'm saying is, they're suggesting that we, allocate the interest to the hospital every year.
So that's, the interest is one thing, but the
Yeah,
principal.
I could get on board with allocating the interest.
Okay.
Because now that money actually belongs, like the mayor said, it belongs to the city. When they sold the hospital, Tom Ogletree had them put that money aside. I can get on board with giving the interest.
Yeah, I think that's the best.
Mayor, can you get on board with that?
What you do with the interest is fine, but it's gonna be cutting into our other projects.
But see, that's why we're here to decide what we wanna do, that's why we're
Well, maybe we do
exploring
it,
all options.
maybe we do it on a yearly basis to see where we are every year. Maybe we don't put it in
Yeah. But-
permanent. Maybe we do it this year because we know that we've got everything going on, we've got money set aside for different projects. Because the interest is not that much right now, is it, Alex?
But then too, let me do this, Alex,
Uh,
The interest on that account will not, mature till January 19th of 2025,
Okay.
and it hasn't been for a whole year.
okay, Alex, but also too, give them a couple of examples of projects we've funded out of that account, so that way everybody knows what we've been doing with it, because there's been a few
The
things,
fire department,
okay, so this
That
will
fire
help put
truck
things in
was one.
perspective when we see what we've actually been doing with the interest.
Go ahead. Fire truck?
fire truck was the main one. Right now, we got about 300,000 in the interest account. I can't, we're trying not to use that to build up the savings, for emergencies.
So if we allocate it to the hospital every year, then the projects that we've been funding, we can't fund them out of that anymore.
I think we should just worry about this year.
But yeah, well, yeah, so there should be enough in there. How long does it take for that account to replenish? Like, how long did it take to get where we are?
9 months.
So-
The 340,000?
Yeah.
Since I started in 2023, so about 15 months right now.
I think that's enough to
And
do.
interest rates are dropping. And just so you know, the telemetry that we gave to the hospital,
300,000.
yes, that was audited. We had to provide the invoice and all of that to our auditors this year.
But it sounds like there's enough interest in that account to do 3 and 4
When it matures in 2025.
in January.
January.
You
So
have
January-
the interest account, not the CD lead, the interest account. We have an interest
Oh,
bank.
the money's already in the interest account.
Yes, we have an interest bank account that we've
That
been.
is already
when the
But
CD
it
matures,
came from
we
more
move it.
than that money though, right?
It did,
Yeah,
came
so
from
that's the thing,
every
it came
CD
from more
that
than
we
that,
have.
so I don't
So
think
we
we wanna
don't
do that.
know.
Which is 18 different CDs right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
well,
not just that.
so I got a question. If we did, the million the hospitals asked for, is that included in the 2 million that we're short?
It is.
Okay, I got a question. What if we did number 3 and number 4, 185,000 and 125,000 only? Yeah, how much?
Or 310.
All right, so that's 310,000. What would our number look like then?
So you just wanna, but I gotta mark next.
Okay.
I think one of these.
Because we know the bond put us 2 million in the hole, and that's what we're trying to cut and come up with.
And Lee said this, so this is what Lee's suggesting. If we do this one, this is gonna generate money for the hospital,
Let's see.
the first one. If we do that one, that's gonna generate money, and that,
Guys, that's $520,000.
The original for services it would have to send to Birmingham.
It's a good point.
and that's, I mean, like, again, that's why we're here to discuss, to come up with an option, and, I mean, once we get to the bottom of the list, if the math ain't mathing, then we gotta go back.
Alex, where you at?
Oh, and we may be able to, you think we can pull 100,000 out of that interest account and then pay for the rest of it out of,
If we haven't already spent it on something.
we have, not that, but
we have
all those
allocated
special
it.
projects that we do, it comes out of that interest account.
Mhm.
It makes sense if that's gonna make revenue for them,
And then we just not worry about the,
and we're not worried about
the-
2, 3, and 4.
And actually, it'll be set in.
Whatever y'all decide, as long as we're paying for it out of our general fund, we got money to operate, we're not in a hole, and our people are taken care of, I'm in.
And we don't deplete that, interest account.
Alex, I think we've changed our mind and went with number 1.
And how much would number 1 be, sir?
It's, 520,755. Sorry.
So do we all agree with that?
Mhm.
Action?
Yeah.
I ain't giving you my paper back.
755 or 757?
I've got
It'd be
five,
off $2.
well, I've got 5, I've got 7, yeah. Ain't that what I said, 755?
They don't get any of the allocations from us,
Mhm.
Do y'all need my little paper too? I thought y'all
I
might
thought I
have
had mine. Oh, I do have mine, it's right here in front of me, look. Right here.
it.
And then once we get to the bottom, we'll see where we are as far as, if we have to change them.
I just heard negative.
So you're
Well,
gonna look at
of course, we're negative because it's,
appropriations total before we go into contracts.
oh yeah, you were gonna give us the appropriations total.
For what started to what now?
So what's-
started at 2 million, what is that now?
Say what?
No, he doesn't.
Just,
Yeah.
The deficit numbers.
yep,
Negative 293, 384. And
No.
that was with giving Earth nothing.
No.
And the hospital the 520,000.
But Alex, we do want the appropriations total.
And now we'll get that number.
so that deficit is,
Yeah, but we still have to consider, Earth though.
Yes.
So just keep that in your mind, we still have to consider it. I know.
$939,994.
Guys, with 293,000, we ain't gonna be able to do number one. We're gonna have to pick one of them and go with it. We're still in the hole 293,000.
it's like we'll have to do 3 or 4.
And then maybe we revisit it later down the road, but we can't afford that.
So why don't we do 3 or 4, and erase our deficit?
Are you adding stuff up?
I'm trying to type down a few things to see where I can find something else.
Yeah, I'm also, I'm listening to Lee add.
I mean, it is what it is, and we may have to look at it at another level before we do anything, because it's,
Alright, so let's,
You want my paper again?
I have mine. What did she say the new deficit was?
293,384, 30 cents.
You said 384?
Yes, ma'am.
It's everything we increased.
We still have some, shoot. We still have the next page.
But those are contracts, I don't think we can do anything about, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Still have the contracts and non-departmental expenses.
And I have something to add.
Let me see. Hey, see if this makes sense. What if we, and this probably ain't ideal, but could we take the 520 out of the 2 million and replace it with the interest? It's not ideal, but it gets it done if we're just stuck on the 520.
but the key is that we don't know what the interest is, because the interest total that she's given us is the interest for all of our CDs, not just the interest for the hospital.
Okay?
Now,
That was just a
I'm
suggestion.
gonna bring it up again. If we roll 143,000
Ooh.
from this year for the nuisance and abatement, then we can subtract 143,000, and then you guys don't have as much of a deficit.
But I don't get it.
How we roll it.
But why do, I guess I don't get the rolling, because it's just gonna be just added on to the general, fund.
He would subtract 143 from him, but he would still get the amount he wanted, which was 4.
But the money is still the money though, so it's really not
But
gonna.
we could use it in FY '25. If you don't roll it, we can't touch it.
It just sits there stagnates.
Yes.
This money doesn't go away because we don't spend it.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Money don't go away because we don't spend it. Answer that.
It's based off fiscal year. Any money earned in one fiscal year stays in one fiscal year.
And it doesn't roll over.
It does not roll over unless the council authorizes it.
But
Which
once,
is why I said let's authorize it.
but once the year is over, don't we just get a new total based on the, what's in the bank?
And
It's
we have
based
assets
off
we
the,
can-
revenues the city earns.
I don't understand.
I'm lost.
I kind of get it because you have one amount this year and the next year, it may be a different amount. You can't operate off the same months.
Okay, I get it. She's saying roll it over, it's gonna make our balance look higher. If we roll it now, if we decide to roll it over, it's gonna increase our balance, but the money still is the money. But in order to balance the budget, we can count some additional monies. That's what she's saying.
Cause I can't use any money in FY '24.
So even if we had $10 million left over from '24, we still can't count it in this budget that we're balancing.
Guys, that ain't a bad idea.
I get it. I get it too.
Are we in agreement to that? But we still gonna be, if we do that and still do number one, we're still gonna owe 150.
Let's just do this, let's put the hospital at the bottom. Once we do all the rest of them, do all the totals, take the hospital out, let's just put it at the bottom. And then once we go back and see what our balance is, then we'll make our decision based on what our balance
See if you
is.
can do 1, 3, or 4.
How about that?
That good, Lee?
So
If you roll 143 over, that pays for number 4. Plus some.
That's not gonna make the biggest difference. though.
Yeah, but see, the goal was to try to see how to make the biggest impact, and number one is gonna generate the hospital income.
That's what money we don't have.
But we don't know that, because we may be able to take some of it we may be able to use some of the money out of the interest account and then some out of the general fund, but if we just take it out now and consider it at the bottom, we know we're gonna do something when we can see what our balance is. Because I get what Nate's saying, we don't wanna go in here and cut some departments and then spend the money somewhere else.
We gotta go. I understand. We'll address it at the bottom, we'll address everything else.
Yeah. Is that cool? And that way we can make our decision based on what we're gonna do then? Alright, okay, so take it out, Nicole.
And then contracts are essentially even.
Yeah, we can't do anything about those.
There's nothing that's left.
Yeah.
Non-department expenses.
We on non-department expense.
Yes, sir.
We are.
Art and flagpole, I'm good with.
I know we had to spend some extra money in was it the flagpole or just the flags this time, Alex? Cause I know we had to change
It was
the
the
department.
flags. It was the flags.
So is that one gonna be the same every time?
No, we have them on a rotating basis now.
Okay.
Jared, the flag out here, is it in bad shape?
No, it's right
That's the
there.
one that's the one.
We just bought that one.
We just had 2 fixed, we're about to retire one, and the third one fixed.
And now they're in, Alex's department, so now they're on a rotation, so we don't end up in a situation to where we don't have.
I just remember that conversation.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the museum, they're only allocating on non-departmental. She only asked for 10, but over the last 3 years, that's what her average is.
32,000?
Yes.
As far as what? Utilities?
Nicole, you got me on that one? The building, repairs for the building.
But was some of this stuff capital?
Yeah, 'cause we do like the bathrooms, remember, and
Yeah.
it's still leaking within the walls and stuff,
Yeah.
right, with the roof.
I mean, there's nothing we can really do about this. I think we should still just allocate what we've been allocating, and then when the big projects come up, we just have to,
Okay.
consider it as capital.
So do you want her to go back to 10 on that one?
I would, because especially because we don't wanna,
So that frees up 22.
yeah, I think it needs to be considered capital, those big projects. What do y'all think?
I agree. It's our building, we gotta take care
Yeah,
of it.
we've been taking care of them pretty good.
Mhm.
And we're doing too many Band-Aids. I've got so many problems. We need to get some expert to come in and look and give us a holistic proposal.
Yeah. But not, yeah, I don't think we need to allocate for capital things in line items. It needs to be considered all together. So are we good,
Alex, can you explain the tax collect fee?
The tax collect fee is, we don't manage the taxes here, the Department of Revenue does, so we have to pay them to manage our taxes. They take that out of your weekly tax allocation that they provide us.
So it's set on their call?
Percentage of revenue?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
and then this last one too, I know we ended up with the Little League's utilities, I know we ended up having to increase this one because utilities went up And I know when I was talking to Laura, she said it may be something as far as the lights out there. There's different types of lights out there than at the complex. Would that make a difference, Steve?
Yeah, the lights out there terribly old and not efficient at all.
So is that something we need to take a look at as far as helping with utilities?
I mean, if you redid both of those fields with lights like ours from Musco, you're around $190,000.
So we should just leave the lights that we have out there there? That's what you're
Pay
saying?
the extra
Yeah,
Yeah,
just pay the extra.
good idea.
utilities. Thank you, Steve.
But we do need to make sure we have some way of making sure they're not left on.
Yeah.
Managed.
Well, we've got
Yeah, they're not.
contacts now, so they can be reached instead of waiting until a meeting or going through a fiasco. They can just directly call them and say, hey, what's going on? We got a bill, it's high.
Could we consider putting a timer on them where they turn off at 11 PM if nobody turns them on?
I think if we do that, we're gonna have to upgrade the lighting system, and I don't think we're gonna get in the market. for
Right.
that.
We used to have well, we don't have a lock box at the field. It's a key. It's a key.
Okay.
Give
All
all
right.
the coaches a key to it.
So we're ready to go to, fiscal year 25 department budget amended line items.
I'm sorry, what are you doing for weather sirens? Are you doing 5?
That's what we've been doing,
That's
right?
what we've been doing,
Is that what you're recommending?
yes.
Is that what it's costing?
That's what they're asking for.
Is that what it costs?
That's what, the police department, yes.
Okay.
And then for Little League, are we gonna do the 20 since it's a reimbursable, and once they hit the 20, we go back like we did last
I
time?
like it because it may not be as high.
Correct.
I don't, but the thing about it though, with the lights being the lights, Steve just said it is gonna run higher than the rest of them. So
Are we
either we're gonna
Sure, it's
invest
just
that-
Little League using those fields and not travel ball teams or anything else? Are we sure it's just,
Well, that's when you gotta call the contacts.
Yeah, and maybe we should just have a conversation with them just to make sure, so we
we
can
have
just
to
leave.
anyway, because their contract's up for renewal?
Okay.
So I just call cause you know softball and baseball are two totally different.
Correct.
So
Yep.
you'd have to just talk with both of them and get on the same page.
And if other people are, they should be paying.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So
Okay.
what's the amount?
20.
20.
Okay. And this, the next couple are, just so you guys recall what you already cut from the departments, in case there was any questions. I know up for discussion was, administration shirts for admin people. And I sat down with the mayor this morning. Since building services department, they bought their shirts already this fiscal year. No other department did, just building, because, it wasn't in anybody else's budget. We're asking that the council fund the street department, the shop.
And that's just for one employee, make sure.
Yes, the
That's just
street's
for the
only his
admin.
secretary, the shop's only the secretary, the police department's the secretary. The court is 5 personnel, and E&L to include HR is 2 people.
And I do think this is a good idea. I think when people come to City Hall, they need to be able to recognize our employees. They need to, be easily recognizable, so.
How many shirts are we buying?
We did the cost analysis
2 a year.
for 2 people per year. We looked at, Land's End, and we looked at, Logo Up. The cost analysis overall, after all the fees and everything, Land's End is actually cheaper. So what we would like to do is do the 2 at Land's End and limit $45 per person for 2 shirts, that's $90. However, you have a setup fee. Building services won't have a setup fee, and administrative finance, and if I'm not mistaken, E&L. I could be wrong on E&L. Jane, will you guys have a setup fee, or have you guys been ordering from Land's End?
I've been ordering my own shirts.
Why can't we just do it together? Why can't one person just take the order and we have one setup fee? Why do we have to
It's
split it up
per
into
logo.
departments?
I have a question.
Oh.
Per logo, that's why.
Why are we not looking into local companies to do this? Because there's local businesses downtown that can provide these services as well.
Is that an option?
I'm sure it is, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And just do price match.
Yeah, but then too, also just make sure they have the, all the required documentation.
Laura, if you know of any companies, it would be easier for our office if you could please contact me or Tiffany.
Okay.
That'd be great.
I'll-
Not me, don't contact.
Then contact me
I'll
directly.
send it to you, Alex.
Alright.
So,
Well,
that
hold
was
on.
not in anybody's budget.
But hold on, but first you need to send her what the requirements are in order for us to do business with them as a municipality. And then she can,
Business license.
yeah, and she can just give it to them. So we can just get an update on that, by the next, September meeting. That's good with you, Laura?
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
And are the local companies going to embroider the shirts?
Yeah, there's downtown, there's, more than monograms. That's what they do.
Lisa Guy.
Yeah.
Got it?
Alright, well, we'll get an update on that at the next meeting.
And you can probably take our logo down there, and you can probably match it out.
Right.
To be considered at the, to be added to the budget before we pass it.
And then the other issue that we talked about for the departments was the take-home policy.
Yes, do we have documentation, where's that paper at? I should have that,
I don't know, all I've got is the budget.
I thought I had a list, I thought I was gonna get a list.
You had a list that was on sticky in your manila folder.
That's it. Alright, so we do need to, discuss our take-home policy. I thought we were gonna get a list of who all took home a car, not people, but I guess positions.
I didn't get anything from the departments. I looked at the departments, the interim police chief, his administrative lieutenant. We looked at the nuisance and abatement officer. We looked at the street department superintendent, his assistant, the shop superintendent.
Where is what you're reading? Do I have that?
No, you guys don't because it's got names. And in order for us to analyze it, we have to have the names. Because they turn in their gas receipts to us. Some of them do, some of them don't.
Well, is there a way to give us a list without names, just positions?
There is. Yes. We can.
Because I do have a question about, a couple of them. And first, the nuisance and abatement, why do they take home a car?
That's just a courtesy, isn't it, Ron?
It is, and, there has been times where he's been called out beyond his working hours. Matter of fact, I believe you called him a couple of times.
Me?
No.
No, man. I call him on the way in.
But I guess when I'm looking at take-home cars, I'm looking at people who would be like first responders.
Which would be, now, from my understanding, the PD, there's something the state says that you guys, that's in
If I call
administration.
you- if I call
Hang on a
you,
minute.
You gotta come in.
Okay,
You don't have a choice.
and we can, and all of our people respond.
I missed it.
Right, tell Tiffany.
If I call you, you gotta come in. You don't
Okay,
have
so I got a question, Ron. What if, say, you and, the captain and the head of investigation or whoever else is all at a conference somewhere?
Then before we leave, always put somebody in charge.
So if, somebody's gotta have a car
Somebody's gotta have,
that's in administration.
that's correct.
Okay, we know Reed and,
So how many in total from the
I'm
police
not sure.
department?
All the investigators have a car, then me as captain, whoever becomes chief would have a car. The administrative lieutenant, the training sergeant has one that when we employ people, they use that to go back and forth to the academy. He also uses it to take them to Birmingham to get uniforms or whatever. So Alex, you got that number total?
We didn't do everybody, we only did,
Okay, let me do it for you.
thank you.
5 investigators, chief, captain, admin lieutenant, training sergeant, and both patrol lieutenant, and 3 canine officers.
But in the police department, that's kinda used as a recruiting tool as well.
we're just to start that take-home policy when we get it done. And also the training sergeant, if need be, if something bad goes wrong, he comes out and goes to work, right?
If something bad goes wrong, everybody comes, regardless.
Right, including you.
Including me. Matter of fact, I'll probably be the first one there. When Sergeant Peoples got dragged on the street over here, I beat some of the shift to the ER, and you know where I live.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, if something bad enough to do an all call out, we're all coming. Sure, Officer Mann don't have a take-home car, but Lieutenant McNeil does. So he's gonna beat him to the scene before Officer Mann can get there. But we're all coming.
So
We don't have the luxury of 200, 300, 400 people. So we make do what we
We gotta
get
go.
with 32.
So, and I have a question about the fire chief, Will, that car, because I know we bought that, that machine, and it's a first responder machine. My issue with that is, I know how far he lives away, I just think that car needs to be here for whoever's in charge of shift. They should be driving it while they're here, because they're gonna be the ones responding.
And then he can meet them there if he has to come in, because he's got
Yeah, but what I'm saying.
captains and lieutenants.
Yeah, because see, with that one, that's used as a first responder machine. So with him being as far away as he is, he can't really come and respond with that piece of equipment.
So you suggest just pay him the $250 like we used to?
Yes, but,
The captains have a vehicle they drive.
But not a fully equipped vehicle, it's a command and control center.
It's got a command and control center in it. No, it doesn't.
That's command center.
The F-250 that the captain's driving, when we're off, the lieutenant's driving, is just a basic 4x4 truck with a radio.
but see, that one, and I know I keep calling it a machine, I'm probably wrong, but I'm kinda right though, aren't I, Jerry? So that one, you know, I just feel like we would get the most bang for our buck with that one being in town. So whoever's in charge, that's who needs to be using that one, because when they respond, they can
I'm
do a lot.
okay with it as well, and you know, I mean, Jared Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but by the time he would make it there, depending on the severity, a scene is pretty much set, because he lives so far out.
They would have, and we've
And
got.
that vehicle has all the implements and stuff it's like commands, where you command your scene at, right?
Right, and we've got good enough people to have it under control by the time he gets there, he can do his thing.
So giving him the stipend, or whatever you wanna call it, for vehicle allowance,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then having the machine, I keep calling it a machine, here we would.
command vehicle.
The machine, we could, I think it would be utilized better.
I'm good with it, and just pay him his stipend back.
And there's also too, I know, with Mike, I know Mike takes his car home, and Mike, again, tell us why you have to take your car home?
We do inspections. Sorry. We do inspections on the way into work, on the way to lunch, and on the way back, and on the way home. I mean, I live 10 minutes from town, it doesn't really matter to me. But you're going to lose four or five inspections a day coming back to the vehicle.
Tell me how, and I'm, and I'm not judging you, so just tell me how, just for my own understanding. So we'll use about 4 or 5 inspections if you had to come and get the vehicle from here and then go to the site?
Correct.
You couldn't schedule them around until you couldn't make shift your hours? Like come
I mean,
in,
if you take 30 minutes out per time, you took 30 minutes out, you can't use it back.
well, what I was saying was you couldn't make, like, their schedule, if you're supposed to be here at 7, could you get here at, if they wanted to come in at 6, I'm sorry to say that, 'cause I know you get here at 7. If they wanted to start at 6, could you come in early and then take off later in the day so we wouldn't miss those inspections?
What we do is standard practice.
His salary, thank you.
Yeah, you will have some overtime, because that has happened with the other inspectors.
Right.
One person is not taking one home now because she's not doing that much yet on her own, but it will, the day will be coming.
So
I mean,
who
you
does-
have people pouring concrete and stuff at 7 o'clock in the morning.
That's right, beat the heat.
Yeah.
Who's
They
beside-
come in sometime at 6 o'clock, if they want to, or stay late.
So who besides you and your department, Mike, is taking home a car?
Nobody currently.
Just you? So
I
you're the
mean, there is
one,
really nobody else.
yeah. So you're the one that's responsible for those different hours.
I mean, we have one now that's doing really well, I'm not pushing that away, but
We gotta look at,
we gotta get the confidence of that person that where they feel comfortable taking that responsibility.
So once that person starts, will you stop taking your car home and it just be the one person taking the car home? Or are you gonna?
That's up to you, it don't matter.
we gotta look at
Is
wear
that
and
not
tear.
an incentive though, as well, like the other departments?
Actually, it's added to my W-2 form as a payment.
But how would it be an incentive? They're not a,
They're
so
gonna get
how
charged
is that-
for it.
You
yeah,
get charged with the imputed value if you do it, so, unless you're first responder.
Well, yeah, but that's what I was saying, how would it be an incentive to take home a car from building
It
service?
really costs money to take it.
Yeah, because of the wear and tear of the vehicle.
And that's what
But
we.
then, I guess what, maybe this is what you're saying is if, once she gets the confidence level up, and you have, 2 to 3 people doing it on their own, then you have just one person taking a vehicle home, whoever that is, to be determined, can do those inspections to and from lunch, to and from work that day or that
That's
week.
totally up to you.
Okay.
And see, the overtime really has nothing to do with it, because if somebody's responding at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, I mean, the time is what it is.
Right.
So you still have.
Usually when that happens, the person, if they're on by the hour pay, they leave early or whatever that.
Coming
So
out,
it works out.
get the same time.
And you do get.
And he don't have that much overtime built in his budget anyway.
Okay. So what other departments, were there?
The street department, looking at the analysis, the assistant, is really high.
The what?
Reed's assistant is really high on his, gas expenditures, which is on your sheet.
Well, he's considered.
I'm being fair across the board.
Well, let me be fair real
They
quick.
need to fool with the street department.
I agree, Mayor, hang on just a minute.
Leave them alone.
Okay, but hold on, let me say this, I mean, with all due respect, I get what everybody's saying, but we still have the right to act.
Sure.
To see, what's been allocated, we're not saying that we're gonna mess with it, I mean, but we still need to understand, because we are balancing the budget, we need to know where we're spending the money
That's
and
right.
how.
Can we
So,
get copies of that as well?
I don't even have one.
Oh, okay, I thought
Yeah.
that's what you had. I'm
No,
sorry.
this is Alex, I don't have one.
So here's the thing with him, Reed,
And I can't, it has names on it too,
Right.
so that's why.
Okay,
I'm just-
because I don't know what we're looking at with his
All we're doing is looking at how much, gas has been used in the last 10 months by certain individuals throughout the city that have a take-home car.
Yeah, and what the street department that is gonna,
they're considered first
It's hard
responders.
though if we don't have numbers in front of us to look at.
well, we'll have to, we can wait and get some else. Is there any way to print these out without having names on them? Because we can't pass out stuff
Yes.
with names on them.
Yes, that's correct.
So we can do that, you wanna do it the 17th?
That's fine, but I mean, I can't share this one I got.
That's right.
So, but addressing it though, all the bad weather we have, they're on call 24/7, either Reed or
That's right.
the assistant.
And the last one we had, both of them was out.
And all I was doing.
So we need to,
No, I mean, we do need to know. And you said that the street department was the last department, Alex?
That was exorbitant, yes.
Okay.
So
And that's
what's
all,
our new
yeah.
number?
The same number, we didn't change it.
So
okay?
from the 2,029,000, we're at the 293.
So we're still at a negative 2.3.
So we got to take
Yeah, but, yeah, that's still
We
considered
still
the
need to address the
hospital.
hospital.
Well,
That's
I,
including the hospital.
Mhm.
Told us to take out the hospital.
yeah, you told us, I thought we just considered on rolling the, 143 over, and then we can't do number 1 on the list.
But hold on, let's roll 143.
I think that's gonna bring it down to a deficit of 150. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So we're in the hole 150.
If we roll 143 over, we're at 150.
But that's with doing number 1 on the hospital.
Is
No,
it? No?
because we took the hospital out.
We took the hospital out. So you're at 150, 384, 30.
That we're in the hole.
That's if you guys agree to roll. Yes.
So we're still 383 in the hole if we roll.
If you don't roll, the 143. That's correct.
All right.
We gotta roll 143, it makes sense, we're losing. And then we're gonna get in the
Now, and nobody get mad at me, but you know, we're still working on the planning department. Okay, and we funded that as if it was operated. Can we take some out of that? And then once Mike gets his, they get their plan together, the way they're gonna go, use some of that to help with this, deficit we have?
Alex, how many years has that been funded and not filled?
How many years is what?
The planning department been funded and not filled?
I guess that would be a,
Mike.
probably a Jane or a Mike question.
Jane.
Mike's been doing it.
I've been the salary in it for 10 years.
Yeah, we talk about salary, we talk about the funding for it.
No, it isn't. There's hardly any funding there.
Well,
I mean,
what's
that's
the-
the smallest department you got.
Mike, I get it, Bubba, but I gotta find $150,000.
You ain't gonna find it there.
I'm not saying find it all, but.
Not at all.
You won't find it for
Not
10
close
years.
to it.
You won't find enough to help the rescue squad there.
All right, I think we need to take a little break. Let's take a 10-minute bathroom break, and then we'll just come back and regroup after that.
Yeah, looks like we're halfway through. There's a number of pages.
All right, so Alex, what page are we on?
Appropriations, we are on contracts.
No, we went over that.
Non-default. We were gonna relook at if anybody wanted to just peruse the department cuts, and see what you all cut, make sure you're all still happy with what you cut, what you did not cut on the department,
I think we're,
before we go into personnel.
I think we're good right there because we did go line by line for each, item, so I don't think we need to go through that again.
So, but are we in agreement that we're rolling the 143?
Yeah.
Okay, so that puts us 150, 153.84 in the hole.
We're gonna roll it, but we're putting it in the general fund.
That's right.
We're not rolling it into the
Okay.
So now we got the FY 25 personnel request. It should be the next page, I think.
It's another packet.
This mine is yours. Okay?
So at the last budget meeting, the council approved, the shop to get another mechanic. No, you actually approved it because you did advise HR they could advertise.
Have we advertised yet?
Yeah, we approved that as well as the,
When do you think we'll do that?
I can do it this week.
Cool.
so this total, Alex, is this, the total on here though, so why is the shop still on here if we've already approved it? Did we approve all this stuff?
No, you only approved this shop. It's still on here because we have everybody else to approve on here. If you choose to or choose not to, this is just for your review to look at.
So we didn't approve any personnel during their budget, because I thought we did with the shop.
The only one you did was the shop. We just haven't removed it yet.
Okay, so
We haven't
let's,
advertised
This
or anything.
283, 238 will be in addition to the 150 deficit already.
Yeah.
Or is that included?
That the only one it includes is the shop mechanic, that's it.
and then too, this is also gonna, whatever we decide to do here is gonna drive our payroll up.
If you decide to do any of it, yes.
Fringe and all the good
Insurance
stuff.
and
Yes.
benefits. Other stuff.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Does this include, insurance?
Yes.
Other benefits, so the total amount
It says
is all of
salary,
this?
fringe.
So it is everything?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And this was just to let y'all know that you're still asking for these things,
Okay.
except the shop.
I don't know if we can visit this right now, except the shop.
I
mean,
think-
it's already been visited, but everything else.
I agree.
It's out of our reach.
That's right, I agree with Ashton. We told Ed that he was a definite, that we was gonna get him another mechanic, just because we have a lot of older stuff and things breaking down. I don't see how we can afford to do anything else, not at this time.
But what position are we in, like, as far as like the animal shelter, like, what position are we in if we decide not to do this? So how many people, how many people are?
You're just asking for a new position, aren't you, Ms. Stephanie?
Yes, I am.
So as of right now,
All these are for you.
Right.
For another time.
So could you think you can make it to about February or March, and let's see how much, see if we got funds coming in and maybe revisit? Because we know we have an animal population going crazy right now.
Right. If it's not possible to do it right now, is it possible to have access to somebody from a temp service when we have these moments where the population is just swelling? Because right now I'm in that situation where I know it's gonna be really bad.
are all the positions that you have right now, Stephanie filled, so you're fully staffed?
Yep. The problem is that when somebody's on vacation or out, if we drop down to 2 or 3, I got 160 animals now, and it's easily gonna go up to, probably closer to 200, and like I said,
What?
previously, when I look at other shelters in the area, shelters that are close to us in numbers, when it's not this bad, have 7 full-time, and most of them, when they're up to 184 to 200, have 13 staff.
So let me ask you this, so
I
you're
got
asking,
4.
you're asking for some help from a temp service, but you're saying it's because people, when they're on vacation, so.
No, I'm saying when, we don't have enough people, period. When people are sick or off on vacation, we drop down to 2 people. It's not enough to handle the workload, so I step in, or I come in at 4 AM or 4:30 in the morning, try to work until noon and get a lot of the heavy-duty work done, and then I try to get to the desk to do my stuff.
So let me ask you this, so even if, say we were to consider a temp person for a while, how long would you think you needed that temp person? Are you wanting a temp person until we approve a full-time person, or you just need a temp person to get you through a small period of time to play catch-up?
At least for a small period of time, a couple months. And then the problem with that scenario typically is that we'll get interested, or the agency will get interested applicants, and then when it comes to the drug screening, most of the time they bottom out.
But even the
So-
cost of a temporary person is gonna be more than a full-time person because of all the extra fees.
$18 an hour?
And that's
So
not,
that's something we can set up and tell them we only need them for X amount of months.
but see, the $18 is not even what the person is gonna be getting, that's what we're gonna be paying the temp service, so we don't have any control over what they're paying.
Okay.
But then the question would be, where's the funds gonna come from, because if she is fully staffed.
She has no unused salaries.
But I mean, with the overflow, so and this is a full-time person?
Yeah.
Is there, we make,
We can, guys, we,
You can't get.
I know we can't, but what, I know it, but also too, we can't burn out the employees that we have, and then we end up in a worse situation than what we're
In order to
in.
do any of this, we have to cut something else.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I was looking at maybe a full-time person, and maybe this will cut that number in half. I mean, a
Like I
part-time
said,
person.
You still gotta cut from somewhere else.
Fair.
Some other department allocation, something. Still do that.
Okay, alright. So, on to the next one, I know the assistant fire chief.
Jared's here to discuss that.
I think we already,
Yeah,
chief already.
yeah, Nate's done discussed it. I was under the assumption that when Nate made, some of his guys captains and lieutenants, that they was going to do some of those duties that an assistant fire chief would do, which would be payroll and filing papers and stuff like that. That's what I was under the assumption, so
I get where Nate's coming from, because yes, they do those duties split up, but it's like having me and Tiffany do it. What I do may not be the same way you do it, the next day Tiffany does it different
Right.
than you. When I get back in, I'm like, what just happened?
But,
You know, but it comes down to, we don't have any money right now.
but
That's
I would love to provide that, to have a Monday through Friday, 8 through 5 or whatever, personnel there to relieve Nate of some of his stuff, but we, I don't know where to get the money.
but there's captains and lieutenants for all shifts. Am I right in saying
But
that?
that's
Yes, sir.
different than the police.
It's the delegation of the day-to-day tasks that we have.
Operational side,
Admin side.
admin side, okay.
let me
I mean,
ask.
the operations are already handled, I mean, the operations are pretty similar across the board, but the admin side is where we're needing assistance.
So let me ask this, Jared, so what is the assistance that you're needing as far as the admin side? Because the way I look at it, and this is just me, I'm not a fire chief, so I'm looking at it, if I'm fire chief and I have my captains in place, I'm gonna train everybody the same way across the board, so there isn't any miscommunication as to how things are being handled. Everybody should be doing everything the same way. So is it like a training, issue, or what is it?
No, ma'am, so, let's look at it like an umbrella, you know, chief can only shed so much rain with one umbrella. So, we're needing an assistant, we're one of the only departments that doesn't have an assistant of any kind. So we're asking for an admin assistant, because we have, chief has a lot of different chief-style meetings that he goes to, like the training consortiums. And then the assistant chief could take on some of that, which would relieve some of the daily functions that he's already doing. Department training, those hours that are calculated should be maintained by one person. There's several, like I said, the delegation of the tasks. There's too many tasks just for one person to do. And the blurring the lines between an admin and an operations side person is where those things don't continue through the week. It's not about training or having the right people in place, because we definitely have that, but you're asking one person to do something on Monday that's not gonna be back until Thursday.
So you're saying lieutenants don't do any admin responsibilities?
No, ma'am, they're operations.
Cause I think we were all under the impression that when we made these spots or filled these spots for lieutenants, they were gonna take some of the weight off of the chief with some of these duties. Because I think, well, that's how, I'm not gonna say that's how it was explained to me, that's how I understood it.
I think what probably some of the confusion on that is that everybody has a daily, admin role that they fill for a couple hours through the day. So we have like daily payroll, daily calls, call reports, logs, things like that, that we handle, that is, if you wanted to, air quote, admin, but it's actually operations. The things that go up the chain are what we're needing the assistance with.
But at the end of the day, guys, and I'm not saying Nate doesn't need more, but I am saying he may have to put some more on some captains, some more duties on captains, because guys, you're looking at $82,141, that's only gonna go up. We gotta be, it's crunch time right now, we gotta be real careful.
Alright, so
Could
then.
I say something on that,
Yeah.
Council? The 82,000 would be an entirely different salary, of course. You know, I would like for y'all to look at it more as like, in the progression of promotions, it wouldn't be
April salary.
that all the way, because you would be backfilling everything going forward. So somebody in-house would be promoted into that position.
Okay?
But then
So
that
it's
was
not
still,
82,000 brand new.
Right.
but it still would, because once that position,
Down,
somebody
yeah,
moves
as
up,
it
you're
goes
still
down,
gonna
yeah.
have to fill the position that's,
But that takes
that's
time,
moved
of
up.
course.
Mhm.
And so there's some vacancies in there, you know,
That he
like
could
what y'all
pull.
have talked about before. Sometimes you don't have to fund.
Okay, so how many
everything at one time.
vacancies are there?
Right now, we have 2.
Okay, so
We're close.
that's something you can look at, like we did with hiring some police officers.
Yeah,
Yeah, but would you take away 2 positions to
Two
fund it?
firefighters.
Yeah, to fund the chief, is that what you're, I mean?
They ain't gonna give
Would
us
that
any
mess
position.
up
That would
your,
hurt us also. Yeah, that wouldn't be.
That wouldn't be good.
No.
That'd mess our shifts up.
We need to get back to full staffing on the shifts in addition to an assistant chief.
Okay, well, thanks for explaining that, Jared.
No problem.
I'm glad he was here.
So executive and legislative, so full-time HR assistant. That's, who is that?
Yes.
Oh, that's you. I was looking at Alex.
You don't mind if I talk about it?
No, absolutely not. In fact, we encourage her.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, it's the packet.
And I won't go over every little thing.
I'll just use the mic, okay?
Okay. I am asking for a full-time HR admin assistant. There's a large volume of work. I've been doing this for about 9 years and 3 months. A lot of admin. So I did take the time to help you guys. I know you've seen my job description, but I want you to truly get the full effect of what we do. And, you know, it's really fast paced. I'm not gonna read this is for your review, I'm not gonna read every little thing, but I did encapsulate all the different categories where an admin assistant could be of benefit. Recruitment support, onboarding, record keeping, payroll and benefit administration, compliance, which is huge, performance management, employee relations. A lot of that, a lot of meetings. And then I've summarized and given you some further miscellaneous support items, which include support for wellness and flu programs, streamlining open enrollment and status changes, handling unemployment claims and audits, workers' compensation and payroll management, budget preparation, general administrative support. And I'm just gonna close with this comment, I'm gonna read this last paragraph, okay? The diverse and demanding administrative tasks within the HR department, combined with the responsibility of managing up to 150 employees, underscores the need for a dedicated administrative assistant. By hiring an administrative assistant, we can ensure that these responsibilities are managed efficiently, allowing HR professionals to focus on strategic initiative and drive the organizational success. The investment in an admin assistant will lead to improved operational efficiency, better service delivery, enhanced overall productivity, and freeing up the HR staff to focus on strategic initiatives.
Question?
I understand, let me finish.
Okay.
I understand we don't have a lot of money. I just want a place in line, okay? I get it, but I really need you to start getting me and helping understand more of what I do. Thank you for listening. Yes, sir.
Question. How big is the HR staff? You just have a half of a person
Well,
now?
I'm the staff. I'm doing about two full-time people's jobs.
But you're
So,
supposed to have half a person, right?
Uh,
Wasn't that the deal?
she has a dotted line, and when she's available, yes, I do utilize her.
But I didn't think it was when she's available, I think it was half and half. No?
It's not half and half.
But the problem is that you're explaining that you're alone on an island and need some help. When what we budgeted was you should have at least half.
You
a
did help
person.
me out, and she's been a godsend to both the mayor and I. But it continues to grow, and there's more work, there's more compliance.
Along with your daily task and what we task you with as well.
Exactly. And we've got to that point where here we're reaching the 10-year mark, and also you have also had a couple of HR consultants that have told you that I need a full-time person.
Well, we didn't intend that you have no help.
Jane,
That's fine.
Jane, I got a couple of questions if that's okay.
Sure.
And, you're right, we do task you with a lot of things, and we are trying to be better about prioritizing your tasks and not overtasking you.
Thank you.
So, just help us help you.
And I don't want you to, I don't want some of you to continue to complain about me when I do work very hard.
Well, that's okay, we're gonna.
Thank you.
Well, hold on, I still don't get to ask my question. So,
Okay, go ahead.
so does your position, do you get overtime?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't get overtime, Mayor.
So you're
She
not,
works overtime.
you work,
I work it, I'm not paid for overtime.
do you clock in and out, like,
I clock in, all exempt people are required to clock in, yes, I do.
Okay, so there will be, show of the actual hours that you're.
I've got
actually-
every hour of every work since 2015.
Okay, but those are the questions I wanted to have. I just wanted to make sure I had all the information.
Those
we
were
could
great
take this.
questions, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
All right, so the next one on the list is building maintenance, part-time building maintenance technician. That's you, Alex.
That is, we're asking somebody to be hired part-time to assist our current maintenance person. As you're aware, he is one person, and he has to manage all buildings, with the recent events at the museum, the animal shelter. Now he needs to monitor the filters, the HVAC systems. There's a lot of things that he's got to do. That also includes mowing, weed eating, all the facilities that belong to the city.
is building maintenance not under your job description though?
It is, but I don't cut grass, that's a separate.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, I would love to go cut grass.
But no, I'm not talking about cutting grass, but the other stuff.
okay, I wanna make sure we don't get off track, but Alex,
Thank you.
I do think we need to, take a look at everything that Ben is being tasked, just to make sure that, he's not doing stuff that's, supposed to be somewhere else.
And he is right now.
Yeah.
Well, we
So-
need, that's a good idea.
Let's take a look at that, and we'll do that in the future, because of course, we can't consider it, but we still need to make sure we have all the facts, so that when it is time to consider it, we'll know what we're dealing with. So so a list of everything, his job description, and everything that he's doing outside of his job description, because it may be somebody else's responsibility. Perfect, thank you. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay, alright, so, we got that, so,
All right.
capital improvements,
Yes, we did not prioritize the list, we were leaving this to the city council to do.
is this something that has to be done, now?
Tonight?
Does it need, I know, and I think we asked for it to be on the
We
list.
did ask for it to be on the list. Because that determines how we spend the money for all capital improvements.
this
Do
is,
we have to pass the,
Hey.
operational and capital?
How about-
I got
Do we have to pass both of those at the same
That's
time?
on Bronson.
a suggestion.
Go ahead, sir.
Mayor, can you prioritize this list based on your recommendations and how you would like the city to move forward, and then bring it back to us?
Some things that we need to prioritize to maintain them.
So
Can
is
you
this-
do it?
So is this list already prioritized, or is it just a list? So is
Not
it?
completely, no.
So can you do that for us? Can you
Yes,
take this
absolutely.
task? Yeah. So we would like for the mayor to prioritize this list and then just bring it back for us to consider it.
We added to the 17th agenda.
Okay. All right, and then too, I have to, I wanna say a few things. We do have a some sign-in sheets over there. And just to remind everybody that this isn't a regular meeting, this is a work session. And we know that some people have some concerns, so, as a courtesy, we do have the sign-in sheet. You just put your name, your contact information, and whatever questions you would like to ask the council. We're gonna read the, questions out loud and make sure we answer all of them as best we can. But at this meeting, no one will be able to speak. We will be reading the questions out, the questions and concerns out. So just make sure when you sign in, you just write your questions in.
And if you get answers, we'll answer them best we can.
Yeah,
Still got other
We
ways to go.
you gotta go over that.
all right. So special funds budget.
Special funds budget, this is the balance of each of these funds for FY '24, and this is what we're requesting to be transferred in from the FY '25 budget over the 12 months.
So will this increase our, revenue as well?
No, this is from the revenue from the general fund. So we would transfer $60,000 out of the workman's comp budget in case there's ever a claim against the city.
Okay. And I think we talked about that.
The unemployment reserves, that balance is sufficient. The master rec, that was something the council had asked us to do.
That's what we just,
Did
goodness
this,
gracious.
in that,
Yeah,
in that resolution?
No, that was not part of that resolution.
No, but we just went over this at the beginning.
At the beginning, yes, that is correct. And then
Because Lee asked.
the last page is the City Hall Building Maintenance Fund, not capital per se, but capital, yes. These projects can be funded out of the City Hall Building Maintenance Fund.
Is there enough, oh, here it is. Is there enough money to, hold
Yeah,
on,
look at the bottom.
yeah, we just added up, roll over.
Alex, do we anticipate any operating savings by converting all lights to LEDs? Or is that insignificant at all?
I would like to defer to the Building Services Department. This was on the list from last year and we did not execute it. He helped us create the list last year and we just rolled it over. I'm not a light person.
So who decided that this list was a necessity? Is this just,
Who decided what was a necessity?
this list, the City Hall, building maintenance, is this just based on things that needed to be done, or?
Yes.
So all these are needs?
Paint the stairwell on the second floor, light fixtures, sandblasting is a safety issue, because they are rusting and children and adults are running their hands. Thank you, Ashton. We would like to do annual pressure washing, window washing, which you asked us to get a quote, and we haven't found a vendor yet.
Okay, so, I mean, I think, since we have the money, I think we should go ahead and get these things taken care of, because next year it's gonna be a different list, right? Except the pressure washing.
Oh,
That's
imagine.
correct.
Yeah,
Except the window washing?
except the pressure, yeah, well,
Window for sure.
pressure.
We got the pressure washing quote.
All right, do you guys agree to go ahead and let's take care of this since we have the money and it's coming out of
I do.
the building maintenance fund?
Sure.
Thank you. Now, that concludes the budget briefing, so do we need to have another budget meeting?
Well, we still gotta find something.
We gotta get our, no, we still have to, yeah, we still gotta get that new dollar amount.
And even with Earth in the hospital and,
And until we have a passed budget, we can't write contracts, so therefore we can't start writing appropriation checks.
All right, do we wanna go ahead and set a meeting up, or do we wanna address it early on the 7th?
I don't think we need to do it, I don't think we need to do it at our council meeting, because that's when we want to pass it, if we wanna have it passed by October.
Well, here's the thing, I got a question.
On which sheet, sir?
This right on the FY 25 personal request, that 238 is added in with that 150, isn't
No,
it?
sir.
No, just.
Okay,
But the 52 is, the 52,
Yes.
that's included
okay.
in it.
So we still, even though the 52 is, we still short 150.
Can we do Wednesday?
Yes.
Is that too short this week? Is that too quick?
You got a 24-hour notice.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I can advertise before I go home this evening.
Wednesday would be good for me.
So what day?
11.
No, what did Laura say?
Wednesday's
said
good,
Wednesday.
yeah.
Okay, so what time? 4?
4?
I'll be, I'm,
Anytime.
ooh,
4:30, would that be better?
Next week, we will be back in town by then.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to leave an hour early, I know that's,
well, hang on, do we need to go to 5?
Yeah.
no,
I mean, 5 would work better for me, because I have an appointment at 4.
okay, yeah, that way I don't have to try to,
Is that okay with everybody else?
Sounds good to me.
so this Wednesday coming up at 5, right? When you good with that?
good.
So let's have some action items, so, and we have to consider the hospital, we have to consider Earth, and also what's our deficit as of right now, once we end the meeting?
Correct.
What is it?
Oh,
153
it is gonna be the 150,384 and 30 cents. But we had the due outs for the shirt still, and what was the other thing?
Well, can you guys get that taken care of in, 48 hours to get some quotes back for the shirts? In order for it to be considered, I mean, cause this is really not it's something we would like for people to have, but it's not
Not
a.
a necessity.
Yeah, it's not, but I do think we do need to get in the habit of having people, in uniform. So, if you can have it by Wednesday, great, if not, then we'll just have to push it, it'll just have to be considered later on.
Laura, do you know when you'll be able to provide these?
Yeah, I'll I'll email you their contact information. There's 2 different, I know Slim does shirts now, and so does More Than Monograms.
gonna take us 5 to give everybody a chance to get another question.
Alright, so we'll take another 5-minute break just to make sure everybody who wanted to get a question asked and possibly answered, to do that while we end the, budget work session.